to another podcast, Project You, Project Me, removing the fear in your transition. And today we've got the fantastic Lewis Matthews, someone who we've done a lot of work with. Actually, one of the first shows we ever did was about positivity with Lewis back in the day when the FTG was just building. But Lewis, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, that takes me back to some interesting times. And I remember that very clearly, actually. And I was probably in my first month or two of resettlement.
Yeah.
You pick me out of the crowd and you give me an opportunity to come and do a power positivity presentation at Tidworth. And I remember stood up there as a service leaver who hadn't secured my future yet, but you saw something in me and give me that opportunity. And that probably helped me with my transition. That was an exciting year. And it was in the middle of COVID as well. COVID hit about 2 months later, didn't it?
Yeah, it was exciting. Who would have known all those years later, but still here?
Exactly.
You were never going to fail. If there was somebody that's perfect in transition, I think it was you. You know, your plan, the way that you looked after the transition is kind of perfect. And look where you are now. But let's find out a little bit more about all those things.
Thanks, John.
Before we do that, let's go back to, what did you do when you were younger and what you got into the military and what you did in the military?
Yeah. Okay. So I was made in Italy, in Milan, and I was born in Essex. I spent my first year in Italy, and then I was in Canvey Island in Essex for a little while.
Right.
And then when I was about 7, my mum moved up to Romford, which is a bit closer inland towards like London way.
Yeah.
And spent about 20 years there. Went through school, that kind of good stuff. Wasn't really that academically sharp. I think it was more because I was more distracted by the girls and football and stuff like that. Probably just a matter of application more than anything. So I found myself doing carpentry. I'd done a carpentry apprenticeship and then specialised in doing loft conversions. I'd done that from when I was towards the back end of my school years, all the way up to I was about 20. Done well at it. I was good at it, but I was getting a bit bored and a bit restless with just the normal kind of going down the pub, all that kind of stuff, and decided I wanted a bit more out of life and stumbled across the Army website, put my details in, and literally within about an hour, some chap from Ilford careers office gave me a call and asked me to go down for a chat. And it was that keenness that actually got me interested. And I liked that, about the Army. And I had a chat with this guy. He said, "How do you feel about going to do a look at life course?" So I went and done a look at life course. I never really looked back, John, to be honest with you. So I ended up joining the Royal Engineers in May 2007. I think that was around about the time when the financial crash happened, 2007, 2008 as well. So joined the Royal Engineers and then spent 13 and a half years in the British Army. Had a great career, bounced through the ranks up to the rank of sergeant. Couple of tours in that time, based over in Germany, real kind of party boy lifestyle over there. I absolutely loved it because that was in my veins then. That's who I was. But the opportunities that the Army give me and the time I spent there, I didn't realise it at the time, but it was then shaping me for where I am now in life. It was all of them skills, all of those experiences, the leadership, the people around me, which then helped mould me into the person I am today. Obviously, I still retain loads of the value and who I am and my own character, but then it's just helped me along the way. It got to the point when I was at Tidworth, I was newly promoted as a sergeant there, and I was told on arrival that I'd be going to Estonia for about 8 months. It was at that point when I went home and told my wife that I was going to be deploying, and my 2 children, who were 5 and 2 at the time, they all broke down on the sofa and started crying. Didn't want me to go. And it was that moment, I'd heard about these moments, and it was finally happening to me. It was that choice I had to make. It was either stay in for another however many years and put the family through the grind, or put the family first and leave. And I made a very, very tough decision at the time of leaving. Handed in my notice in November 19, done a year's worth of resettlement. March 20, the first lockdown was announced by Boris Johnson. So my resettlement plan took a massive turn, and you was in the background helping me, supporting me, Len, as well. I think you was pretty much at the start of your journey with FTG, Len, and that kind of stars aligned. You picked me out on LinkedIn. And my resettlement went from being out and about, having coffees in London and meeting people face to face, to doing everything on Zoom and Teams and doing everything over the phone. but it was still successful. Still made a success of it. Managed to get my foot in the door at Network Rail. Got an opportunity there. Went to London Bridge Delivery Unit as a workforce health and safety advisor. I think I've told you guys this before, but I'll just touch on it again because I think it's brilliant. If I'm honest with you, I didn't have any health and safety qualifications. I wasn't really planning to go down that road, if I'm honest with you. I had project management and change management under my belt. I ended up getting a job as a workforce health, safety and environmental advisor at Network Rail in central London. And if you would have told me that that would have been achievable at the beginning of resettlement, I would have said absolutely not. So it just goes to show that I won't go as far as saying anything's possible, but if you think outside the box and you give something a go and you've got enough like belief and self-resilience and ambition, you can go and make a success of it, even if it's not where you thought you might be going. So I done that for a little while, got promoted there. I then went over to Works Delivery Kent and Sussex routes on the promotion opportunity within about a year and a half. And it was in my time there where I was spotted by Mickey Ewart, my director at the minute, when I was delivering a presentation to all the directors and stuff in central London. He took a bit of a liking to me. We linked up, he gave me an opportunity, and I went over to Amaro as a HSE manager. So literally in the space of like 2.5, 3 years of leaving, a couple of promotions, moving around, loads of qualifications, lots of experience, kind of rolling with it, winging it a little bit as well along the way. But I had a plan. I did have a plan as well. So the plan was there, but the plan is allowed to flex and bend and go in different directions. Yep. So I allowed it to do that and see where it took me. And here I am now as a HSE manager in the private contracting world, working for Network Rail as a principal contractor. So all of that experience gained and whatnot from Network Rail is so valuable in this new world where I am now, because we work directly for them.
Yeah.
I understand their systems, I understand their processes. I used to deliver all of that, and now I'm doing it from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So I'm loving life, mate. And obviously, I told Mickey, my director, about you and the value that FTG bring and what you've personally done for me. You know how much I rate you and your team and Mandy and all the team there. And he saw the value in it, and he was like, right, let's get signed up for a year's membership. And ultimately, that's why we're sat here having this chat today, isn't it? Because I've shown Mickey, my new director, what you're about. You've had your meeting. He likes you. You like him. You can both see the value, and we're making it work.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. I remember when I met him first, I was like, I can't believe how down to earth this guy is.
I know. He's fantastic. He's for those of you that are listening in, Mickey, in our world, in the old military world, he's an LE. Started on the tools, on the ground. Yeah. Worked his way up all through the ranks, all the way to the top, director level, and now he's a managing director. So we all know how much we like the vast majority of late entrance officers, because they get it and they understand it, and they've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, haven't they? And that's what he is in the in Amaro.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And Amaro, clearly now FTG partner, and hopefully for the longevity of where we go. Tell me a bit about though Amaro, and tell me a little bit more about what your job is.
Yeah. So Amaro are a principal contractor. So we're a small medium enterprise business. We're a principal contractor based in the south of England predominantly. So our HQ is in Maidstone and Kent, and we've also got an office in Stevenage as well, which is where like a lot of the project team work and the planning managers and stuff like that. We specialise in electrification and power, and we do signalling and telecoms as well. So that's our specialist area where we specialise in providing services to the UK rail network. The vast majority of the work at the minute is London, Kent, Sussex, Wessex and Essex. However, we have got a job up in Wales at the minute, and we've not long left Ireland as well, Belfast. We are tendering for work. We are tendering for work up in the Eastern Route at the minute, and Scotland as well. So we are looking to expand as a business. So there's plenty of opportunity, and it is an exciting time. Mickey took over about 4 or 5 years ago, and from what I can see and what I've been told, the business wasn't in the greatest position. It's completely turned it around and made it into a profit-making business. Last year, we were due to do 8 million, and we've done like 15.2. So the growth is huge. The business is going places. Pretty much doubled in size in the last year as well. Fantastic, yeah. And the plans are just there just to keep getting bigger and expanding, but doing it in like a sustainable way with the right people as well on board, and doing it That's my son. I'm on half term. To do it in the right way, not just to take on big contracts that are not sustainable and not having the right people in the right place to deliver the work at the highest standard and maintain the reputation that we've built as a company. I think it's all about our people at the end of the day. We've got the right people in, and we've got a real good culture here. There's about 80 of us all together. But we don't just have Network Rail as a client. We've also got like Murphy's as well, who deliver massive infrastructure projects in construction. We've got Alstom, Morgan Sindel, and other companies as well. So we've got lots of other clients as well as Network Rail. But that's almost like the headline act, isn't it? Because it's the biggest in the UK in terms of rail.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to break that down because people in the military won't really know that system.
Yeah.
They probably see a business as just a business, and the business then does whatever it does. It's not all the collaboration, and we don't really see this when we're in the military because we're living in an insular world. But when we're looking at the roles, so first of all, roles that you would be looking to fill in Amaro, from service people and things like that. One of the things is, what kind of roles would you be looking for them to do if you want to put the titles on that? And what kind of trades or what backgrounds you're looking at, qualifications?
Yeah. So the most recent, I'll touch on the most recent growth that we had recently. So that is the reason why I'm in this business ultimately. So recently we brought in myself as a HSE manager. So that's what I specialise in, is health, safety, environmental management for the business, whether that be policy writing, KPI reporting, analysing trends and looking for areas for improvement, down to your usual kind of day-to-day compliance stuff, whether it be auditing and annual fire safety. All of that kind of falls under my umbrella. Site inspections, engaging with the team, accident investigations. Thankfully, we don't have many of them, touch wood, that continues. But that's part of my role as well, and I specialise in that. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. So I was brought into the business last year. Since then, we've had a lot of project managers being brought in as well to deliver these projects, which is part of the reason why we've had the big growth as well, because the amount of work we've got. A lot of the assistant project managers, I'll just touch on the office-based stuff at the minute. We've recently recruited a talent and HR manager, rolled up into one, who's Chris Monday, who you've met.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a reflection of where the business has gone and where it's going. We've actually bring in a talent and HR manager to drive that and manage that, for not just for the people that are here at the minute, but for where we're going with all of the influx of people that are trying to get in through the door as well. We've brought in people within the planning departments as well to start helping plan and manage all the stuff that's going along in the background. There's a lot of documentation and a lot of processes and procedures that have to be followed. So all of this documentation and control and planning that goes on in the background. And then looking over to like the actual workforce itself, we've got electricians. So we've got people that, in effect, that are doing electrical work out on the infrastructure. So we've got sparkies. We got signalling and telecoms engineers as well. So they might, whatever one they specialise in, or both. And then we've got apprentices that are coming through as well. So we've got the guys and girls that are coming through, and they'll be coming onto our apprenticeship program, going out with multiple disciplines and then gaining experience across the board as well. And then so that's really positive, and that's going on at the minute. So in terms of what we're looking for, we're looking for those people. If we're looking for the office-based roles, I think they pretty much talk for themselves, don't they? If you can kind of look at that project management, planning, health, safety, quality, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the guys in the management positions in the military have already got that, or they're already floating in and around that and can probably turn their hand to it. And they've no doubt got a bunch of LCAS qualifications they're going to use to get some good,
any service,
yeah,
any core.
But the guys on the ground is a bit more specialised, isn't it, with what they do? So I think it's hard to get the people to come out of the military and hit the ground running instantly with what we need on the ground. And I think that's an area we need to look at as a business, in terms of, okay, we've got someone in the REME or the signals or the engineers, or, he can go and fix a fighter jet. Okay, so he's clearly demonstrated he's got the right skills and he's switched on. Yeah. He might not have the correct tickets and qualifications and experience. How can we bridge that gap and give them an offer that we can bring them in and capture them early enough in their transition phase that we can set them on the path to get what they need with help by us and them using what they've got as well in terms of LCAS to then turn up with the tickets, with maybe some work experience as well, and a program to get them in. What that looks like at the minute, I don't know. But it is on our agenda of something we're looking at. And I am interested and excited to see how that could progress. So we're going to have to work with training providers and ultimately come up with a program, because what these guys are going to want to see is, okay, Amaro, yeah, I'm a tank engineer. I can work on tanks, for example, but I want to turn my hand to what you're doing there, sparking, or I do the electrics on vehicles. So I know my way around electrics. I've got X, Y, Z qualifications, but I know I need this. How are you going to get me there? And am I going to get to my end date that I can actually start work with you straight away? So getting their personal track safety, because you can't go onto the railway unless you've got that. So getting all of these tickets in place. So I think the office-based roles, I think it's fairly straightforward. For the site-based stuff, I think it's a bit more complicated because of the type of industry we're in and how we're going to get people to transfer those skills and qualifications into what we need to hit the ground running. And, you know, it's not just hit the ground running for us. It's hit the ground running for them as well, because then they've got families to feed. Yeah. They're going to be stressed. I've been there, I've got the T-shirt. They want to be able to just transition seamlessly into new employment. So that's an area that we need to look at as a business. I think if we want to start looking at the site-based guys, and I think if we can get it right, I think there's real value to be had here, because actually there's a massive skill shortage in the industry at the minute. And if we can get talented people out of the British Army, Royal Air Force, Navy, Blue Light service leavers, all that kind of good stuff, and get them where we need them to be and then come and work for us, I think there's real value in that.
Absolutely. But one of the things you might look at, I know LCAS is something that's heavily used, but the reality is you pay no national insurance on a service leaver. So that could be a saving up to around £6,200. Now, you could argue that somebody leaving the military, can you get them the cards they need, the tickets they needed within that £6,200? Because you're going to make that saving on them. And we do deal with companies now that are using that and saying, well, you're not paying for any recruitment if you come through us, you'll be saving this. And that is another way of looking at it, because how much does it cost to train them for 3 months? It might cost £6,000. But the thing is, you're saving that money, and after that 3 months, they're fully ticketed, they've got the experience, they've been up the track, they've been working with the guys who are already out there. So it's just another, I suppose, area you could be looking at, a different angle, rather than just thinking about their qualification, because £6,200 a lot that they could be trained up in, but then they've got their LCAS after that. So all of a sudden that can be enhanced even further to the next level. So and it probably would be seen as investing in them more, because you've got them a job, they're in the role, they're training, so that could be a pattern you could use. But just to kind of finish this off, because people will be looking forward to watching this, things like that. If somebody wanted a job within Amaro, clearly they can apply online if you've got jobs online on the website, things like that. But would you are you happy to open up to people for them to have conversation with yourself?
Of course,
all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's something I've always done since I've left as a service leaver, veteran, and now official civvy. It's always something I'm happy to do. So if people want advice, top tips, hints, introductions, just chew the fat over a coffee, whatever it is, I'm happy to do that. It's not a problem at all. I go to your live events, and I think I've been to the last 3 or 4 on the bounce. I'm always there. I'm actually on this Friday as well, on the online FTG show. So more than happy to have the conversations. Obviously, I can't promise anything, but I'm more than happy to have a listen, bit of guidance, a little bit of pointing in the right direction, whatever's needed, really, because that was done to me at the end of the day. And I think that was one of the most valuable things that was ever done to me, was people reaching out and helping people that I'd never met before. Actually, some of the people that helped me the most I'd never met, and I still haven't met to this day. But they had that much of an impact on me and my resettlement that I'll never forget them people. If I can even just do an inch of that and give something back, then you know, that's where it's at, isn't it?
Absolutely. And of course, there's a direct line straight into you.
Yeah,
White website as well. So if you're clicking on Amaro on the website and you're
I'm
watching this
there.
podcast, then get in touch with us, because I've got no doubt there's a lot of jobs going to be coming up in the future after our conversations pre this. Um,
Yeah,
and who knows where that's going to take Amaro and service leavers, service people, blue light in the future.
most definitely. I mean, it's all about that growth coming up over the next 5 years, and if the business grows the way we expect it to, and we've proven that we've done it already once before, then it's a very exciting time, isn't it? I mean, I'm very excited to be part of it at this stage. When you look at things and you think that's too good to be true, like looking from the outside, and then you get involved in it, and then you're part of that journey as well. And you think this is bloody brilliant.
Yeah, amazing,
Yeah,
amazing what people
yeah,
do. Okay.
yeah. I think just on that quickly for me, Len. So that's just triggered something in me. Go and get a yogurt then, mate. It's half term, guys. So when I left the army, having come from such a big, secure organisation, I was seeking that again, and that's why I went for Network Rail. And I was like a heat-seeking missile going after Network Rail. 45,000 people, spread across all of the UK. It felt really stable. It felt really secure. It didn't feel risky. And that's why I did it at the end of the day, and I was successful with that. And it felt risky leaving Network Rail and joining Amaro at a company of 70 people at the time, 60 people. It made me feel uncomfortable. And it got to the point where I analysed it so much. I was like, okay, I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't join them. How would I feel if my director took away the offer? And it made me feel a bit sick. That's how I knew. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go and try something different. I've been big organisations, big companies, and they churn a certain way. And those of you who are in the army will know that anyway. So it's not always about going for the biggest and best with the big fancy lights and the massive PR stunts and all of the slick operation on the media. Actually, looking at these smaller companies, this isn't me selling Amaro. This is just me talking personally.
Yeah.
But it does sell Amaro on the side as well. If you're good and you put the effort in and you join a small, medium enterprise business or a smaller business, you stand out, like massively stand out for the right reasons. Where if you put that same level of performance in a huge corporate organisation, even if you just come from one as well, from the British Army, it's a bit harder to stand out and it's harder to make changes as well. I personally feel like I've found my place now, where I can really make a difference and make positive impacts on a company and help drive the growth of it and push the business in a certain way, obviously within my sphere of influence within HSE. So if you are leaving and thinking, I want to go for the big hitters, just consider looking around at what else is out there as well, because I've been pleasantly surprised about this new world that I found myself in, and I feel like I'm where I should be now. I can make a difference, and that's it's a feel good. I can go to my director with an idea. I've not got to spend 6 months putting a business case and go through loads of bureaucracy and red tape. If he thinks it's a good idea, he tells me to go and make it happen, and I go and drive improvement, a business change, and it's satisfying.
Yeah. Well, it's quite clear, you've found your way. The greatest thing about your story is it gives everybody something else to look at. If you work hard, then your path will be found. Many people who leave the military have got massive shining lights. Sometimes, though, many of them don't turn them on, but they can't be seen by anybody. But I totally agree with you. Big company versus the smaller business. Actually, have a look at it all. Don't just I've got to go and work for Amazon. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with working for Amazon, but have a look at another business that might be a little bit smaller, that gives you a chance to grow, gives you a chance to make decisions, I guess. But,
and grow with it and help it grow.
Absolutely. And I suppose you can look at the FTG. This all started 5 years ago, and it's just grown, but it's grown because it's been allowed to, and how to make decisions amongst other people who've just allowed me to do that. So, but we'll finish there, because I think that's been around about 40 minutes, and I think people will be eager to get onto their emails and get in your inbox. I'm so proud, I'm so pleased to see your success. And of course, I know a little bit about your family as well. So it gives me loads of satisfaction when I see you succeeding and where you're going and what you're doing. And again, we'll see you next month, or at least in July at the next big show, and on Friday, like you said.
Yes.
But it's absolutely brilliant to see you thriving. I didn't ever doubt it for a minute. It was quite obvious from the day I met you. But keep doing what you're doing, mate. And the thing is, you're the reason why lots of other people are going to succeed, because everybody else can see how you've done it. And your level is so high that the level you will pass back now is on such a high level that people are already winning before they even start. So I want to thank you for, first of all, getting the FTG involved. I want to thank you for all your support to myself over time, and I've got no doubt that's going to, you know, continue into the future. But
I appreciate it, John. They're nice words. I feel like it's just even though it's been 5-6 years, it does feel like it's like at the beginning still of the journey. I think there's so much big stuff coming, both on the professional and personal level on both sides.
Yeah.
Not just for you personally, but for FTG, for me personally, and Amaro. There's so much positivity floating around and surrounding ourselves with the right people. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? All of that negativity, all of them haters, all them people that want to hold you back, cut them off.
Yeah, straight away.
Not interested.
Yeah. Collaboration, you know, it's how it's going to grow. It's the only way it's going to work. And we've got to get good people involved, good business involved. And that's why I'm really proud to have Amaro as one of our...
No, we're proud to be part of it, John. It's good. I'm looking forward to Friday. I'm looking forward to Southampton. Not been down to St Mary's before, so looking forward to that one. Yeah, no, it's exciting times. They're promoted as well, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going into one of the big Premier League clubs to run the FTG.
Yes.
So FTG Premier League. But I'll leave it there. It's great to see you, Lewis, and you know, I've got no doubt we'll catch up very soon.
Stay safe.
Top man, cheers, John.